We're going to read today in Acts chapter 17, and we're going to kind of bounce around a little bit. We'll go to 21, 23, and head down to 32 range. I just thought this was funny, and I knew you had something prepared, but I wanted to throw this in there real quick and just see. I mean, it doesn't really. It's just to me, it was funny. You're probably gonna be like, okay, can we move on? Let me get this on now. All right, if you want to, go ahead and start at between 1921 range. It's basically Paul's in Athens, and it's talking about him going to Athens. So,
all right, so Acts 17:19.
Okay.
And they took him and brought him to the Areopagus, saying, "May we know what this new doctrine is of which you speak. For you are bringing some strange things to our ears. Therefore, we want to know what these things mean." For all the Athenians and the foreigners who were there spent their time with nothing else but either to tell or to hear something new. Then Paul stood in the midst of the Areopagus and said, "Men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are very religious. For as I was passing through, considering the objects of your worship, I even found an altar with the inscription, 'To the unknown God.' Therefore, the one whom you worship without knowing him, I proclaim to you. God, who made the world, everything in it." Okay, what do we skip down to?
32.
All right, so 32. "And when they heard of the resurrection of the dead, some mocked, while others said, 'We will hear you again on this matter.' So Paul departed from among them. However, some men joined him and believed, among them Dionysius the Areopagite, a woman named Damaris, and others with them."
So the reason we're talking about this is they mentioned.
I'm like, what did you find so humorous?
This is like random, I know, and it's gonna be so small. Here, when they in 32, and when heard of the resurrection of the dead, some mocked, while others said, "We'll hear you." It was weird that they were fine until that part. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is with the resurrection of the dead part. I'm going to give a little bit of backstory here, and like I said, we'll be relatively brief. They were in Thessalonica, and they made them mad. They made the Jewish Thessalonians mad, so they chased them out of the city. So they went to Berea. Now, Bereans were really smart, and they would examine Scripture. So they would actually listen to you. They would match it up with Scripture, and then they would debate you. So it was more calm. Paul was at a point where he rips his clothes, tells the Jews, "I'm done with you. I'm going to the Gentiles." He's like, "I'm sick of you." And I know then God comes to him and says, "Hey, I got you. Go ahead and go. They need you. Don't give up just yet," kind of a thing. But the Bereans were very smart. The Thessalonians went to Berea, and they started the whole situation all over again. The Jewish Thessalonians went, but they followed basically Paul, stirred up the crowd, got them mad, and they got them kicked out. So Paul goes to Athens. Now in Athens, they had a bunch of Athens. It was sort of like a melting pot situation. They would have foreigners in there, and their esteem that would sit on the temples would just sit there all day and muse, and they would come up with different theologies, and they would accept new theologies and mull over them. They wanted new religions. They wanted new ideas. And so they would accept anything that came in. They would just soak it right up. And it was weird because they would do it with their foreigners, but they would spend all of their time just learning and seeking new ideas. Paul notices to them, "Hey guys, you don't make any sense because you have so many idols that you don't even know what they are." He mentions that he's an altar in the temple that is titled "To the Unknown God." He's like, "You don't even know who you're worshiping or who you're after." So he kind of grabs their attention. Now, when they sneer and leave, and when they take off at the mention of because he talks about how Christ died, and he talks about the bodily resurrection, they were terrified of zombies. They believed,
like they
imagine corpses walking around.
Were they trying to eat people, kind of zombies, or just like ghouls?
That was what it was. They believed that that corpses could walk around because there's 1,000 different beliefs and religions in there.
Yeah.
They were fine with everything. They were soaking everything up until he said the resurrection. And they're like,
Yeah, bring it back up.
Oh, my bad, yeah.
That's funny.
Religion
and zombies.
And it was, I mean, I know it's kind of, goofy in that area, but they were fine with it. And they said, "We do not want the dead walking around." They were terrified of the idea of the dead coming out of the ground, walking around, that kind of thing. Like they were scared of it. And they walked away from his preachings just because of that that whole thing because they believed that was a possibility.
You're pouring concrete in all the graves.
Yeah, for real.
You'll thank me when they don't get your brains.
So anyway, I just thought it was funny. I was like, I'm sitting there picturing like they're all just like, wait, zombies coming out, because again, when Christ when Christ died, thousands of the saints were in the temple area were raised from the dead. And so that had to have hit them pretty hard too when they heard that. They're like, yeah, no, we already knew this was going to happen. You just proved it, kind of a deal.
I've always been confused by that verse too.
Yeah, it's just a cool verse.
It's only in Matthew.
My thing was I had done some digging just to see if it happened worldwide, but it was just in the temple area.
Well, it says the saints, so I'm like, well, who do they consider a saint?
But again, that could have been worldwide, and that would have been cool. Like, you imagine just the whole global resurrection right there. But, yeah. So, anyway, I just thought it was funny.
This is my house.
Look what you've done to the place. But I just thought that was funny. And I know you had something too, but we will...
I had no idea that they were afraid of zombies.
I'm finding out some weird stuff. Like, there's just... the beliefs are the same in a way. They're just a different, stated differently and all. So... man is still man, and the imagination is still crazy. And I haven't found anything to where there's no alien talk yet. I still believe that was something done in the 30s or 40s, wherever it was. But yeah. So anyway,
aliens.
Just thought we'd have fun with that one and goof off with that one for now. But you go ahead and do whatever you want to talk with, and I'll
thank me when the zombies don't eat your brains. Stupid.
We can quote all day.
Oh, yeah.
So we've already established that.
Yeah, we didn't really do much in our youth.
No, we did not. Well, we were in Alaska, so
Yeah, it's true. It's go outside and don't die. It's 60 below zero. Yeah, let's see how long you last.
Some days the bowling alley was open.
Oh gosh,
that creep show.
I have the only bowling alley I've ever been in where it smelled like urine upon entry.
Oh yeah, it's like it's very rare you walk into a bowling alley and you have to hit it at the right time so that all the drunks wake up and leave before you get to the front door. So you have to trip over them.
I remember one time Fort Wainwright took it over.
Oh really?
Because they had a bowling alley on base, but it closed down or something, and so they went to the local bowling alley in the town, and
because they would have leagues.
Yeah. And, this wasn't a league. This was just them taking over, basically. And in Alaska, we don't have very many different cultures.
Right.
You don't see anybody from India or, you'll get Koreans.
Well, I'll say we have a lot of Asian groups there. Yeah,
Koreans and Japanese, a little bit of Japanese, but in Fairbanks and like Anchorage, you'll have a lot of different cultures. Mm-hmm. But in Fairbanks,
because
the cold armpit of hell.
Yeah, it's so warm in Anchorage. Yeah, they don't.
You have Koreans, white folk, the Native Alaskans.
Filipino, a little bit of Filipino there.
And I think I worked for the only Hispanic in the entire town.
You probably did.
And then...
wow, let me think.
I think, other than that, the military, there's only 2 black kids that I knew that were not related to the military.
Yeah, we had 2 in our school that were not. One of them, the pastor's daughter was there, and then, oh no, I'm sorry, he was Air Force. But yeah, you're right.
So this bowling alley, we went there. It happened to be your buddy from high school who used to rebuild cars.
Yeah.
Happened to be his birthday, and he wanted to go, and so we showed up, and it was nothing but black folk. It was like the entire military.
So it'd be the entire base. Yeah.
It was so loud. Like it was like.
We're very quiet in Alaska.
Yeah,
it's too cold to scream.
Yeah. We don't get loud till we get lit. Then we'll start getting loud. These folks show up loud, and it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But there was not a single lane open. Like, we couldn't get in.
Oh, wow,
Like, you have to wait till a lane opens, and it's like a sea of people, and they don't stay in their lane. They're walking over to this lane.
They know everybody.
Oh, yeah, everybody knows everybody, right? And
yeah.
It's just like...
That's very military.
And then I remember one time, I don't remember what happened. Some loud noise happened. And they all turned and looked at us, and we're the only white folk in the whole place. They all turned and looked and like, this is how I die. I was like, and then, they all resumed back to what they were doing. Oh, the music stopped. That's what it was. The music kicked off.
Okay.
And so they all turned around like, whoa, what happened? And we're all just standing there like, it wasn't us.
You're like, I swear I didn't do it, right? It wasn't me.
It's like, who put on Rammstein? Is there a white person in here? So it's just like, it was kind of funny.
That's crazy.
And but I remember talking to a couple of them. I'm like, he's like, so is this your only bowling alley out here? I was like, dude, only. You're lucky it's here.
Yeah.
Right? He goes, "This smells like urine." I'm like, yeah, everywhere. I said, it's because we pee here. I said, we got to mark our territory so the bears stay away. He goes, "Are you serious?" Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they would all the time.
Oh, dude, man, we make so much stories. I know
All
you
the
had a lot of
time.
stories you used to tell people.
So many stories.
But I had these two guys convinced that we had to urinate everywhere. We went like all the stores and stuff, so bears and wolves wouldn't come around.
I never did that one.
God,
Yeah.
they ate it up like it was freaking.
I had everybody in
Lasagna.
Texas believing that I rode a dog team to school in high school. They were dead on. I held on that one for weeks. I was just like, I'm going to see if I can milk that one.
The extension cord out the front of your car.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only way we get power to our house.
That's how we get power to the house.
That's
We
why
run the
gas
car.
is so expensive, because we have to run our cars constantly, and we can't burn diesel because it's too
We
cold.
plug our cars
You
in
know,
at night
so
so
we
they
have
wouldn't
gas.
lock up and freeze up. And
Yeah, we have little heating pads on the battery in the oil pan. You plug it
Yeah.
in, and it keeps it from freezing overnight. But everybody's
we
like,
run our houses.
"That's how you get power." Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
You know what's funny? Convinced a girl that we do everything with gold. Like, there is no cash. Everybody has gold because there's gold so prevalent
Really?
in Alaska, right? Yeah. And it's like nobody ever thinks, what about the entire country of Russia?
Go.
I mean,
So,
if we're
when
doing this in Alaska, we're
here's-
America.
Here's the thing. So when I
But
left,
everybody just thinks it's true as soon as you tell them.
after the first semester, I went home. That was the only time I went home when I went to college. The other times it was just too expensive to fly and all that. But the first semester I went home, and I remember that because it was the only time in my life I've ever had lost luggage. And like I've traveled, we've flown and traveled.
yeah.
That was the only time I'd ever lost my luggage. So I go home. Wasn't a big deal, I had to close the house. And when I come back, a friend of mine was picking me up, and there was about 3 of them in the car. They were all excited, and I was like, "Why'd you bring why'd you bring everybody over?" And I understand. And she's like, "Well, we all wanted to see you come off the plane with your parka and stuff. We thought you'd have like a big fur coat and everything." She's like, I was like, and I'm looking, and you know who it was? It was the one blonde one that was always
Yeah.
just gentle and sweet. And
Oh, yeah.
I hated making jokes and stuff, but still did it. She was dead on. She was super disappointed. And the other 2 girls didn't bring it up or anything. They're just like,
Where are your
okay.
snowshoes?
She literally thought I was coming off like an Eskimo-ish type stuff. I was like, "You mean off of the plane now? You thought I said, I can't remember if I've told you that I own one of those or not, but I don't." And I don't know how far I've gone with all my stories. Because we did, honestly. I got pulled over by cops one time. I was flying down this back road. It was just this farm road. I was taking care of we had a home that we had rented. It was a big, gigantic farmhouse we had rented. And we were putting people in the home that were on probation and that were I was working for the chemical dependency counselor, the one that we were both there. And he was taking them in and just giving them a place to sleep while they were transitioning out of jail or whatever. And I was maintaining the house for them. And I was trying to get there to get to a program to get it set up before the guys arrived. They were coming off of work or something. I can't remember. And so I'm kind of racing them. And I remember that part because cops see me. I mean, boom by them. Like if I blinked, I wouldn't have seen them. This is beautiful back road. I'm doing a little 2-seater. I'm just cruising around, having a good time. And I never speed ever. I really don't. But this one time I was just having fun. And I stop and pull over, and I'm not lying. I waited for like maybe 2 minutes for them to get there.
Dude.
And
Caught him in the middle of a nap.
And yeah, it must have been. And they were probably like, those was before cell phones. They were probably just like singing or talking. So I don't know. So I pull over and I'm sitting and I get out of the car and I'm leaning against the back of the car, the tail part. I'm not sitting in it. And they come up and it's this 2 cops come out and he's like, "I guess you knew we had you, huh?" I was like, "Dude, if you didn't have me," I was like, "I don't know what your job is, And you and I did. You probably didn't know it, but you and I had a get out of jail free card.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, we had an instant in Texas. We had an instant get out of jail free. We had 2 technically. Pulled out my Alaskan driver's license.
Oh, yeah.
And put it in the cop's hand. And then I pull out my school badge because the school was very well pronounced. I mean, it was a great university for the community. The kids weren't horrific at first, but anyway, they saw that Alaskan driver's license. I started making up the biggest fishing stories you ever because he's like, "Dude, you do any hunting?" I was like, "Man, I missed it so much. I've never hunted a day in my life because it's so freaking boring. And in Alaska, it's a ton of work."
And the mosquitoes.
I don't know who I'm looking at, but anyway.
And the mosquitoes.
The mosquito, when you're hunting Alaska, the mosquitoes will drive you to scream everything away. They're horrific. But, oh, man, this one moment. And the guys were super chill, and they were low key. So I felt like I made up the biggest bear story you ever heard of. Because he's like, you ever do any bear hunting? I'm like, dude,
not on purpose.
I'm like, you're not allowed to be in Alaska and not bear hunt. You kind of get made fun of. I'm like, we've done a lot of bear hunting. And he's like, what's the fishing like up there? I'm like, everything you've heard of regarding the fishing, it's 1,000 times better. We just lie to you because we don't want you up there.
Yeah, we don't want you.
And he's laughing. He's like, these guys are just chilling. License is back in my hand. We're talking. Well, the van comes up that's got it's a 20-pack or 15-pack van that's got all of our probation dudes in it. And I could see it coming down the road. I'm like, dude, you've got to slam me against my car real quick and you got to handcuff me. He's like, what? I was like, you got to slam me against my car real quick. Oh, and it went by. And I was like, dang it, you missed your chance. And he's like, what? And I told him what I was doing. I was like, I run the halfway house. And he goes, you're in charge of that. He's like, oh, yeah. I said, yeah. He's like, oh, man, next time. I was like, there's not going to be a next time. I was like, I normally don't speed. I was trying to beat them, that kind of thing. And that's how I remember them much of the conversation. They were hilarious. But I was making up so many stories. So many stories about it.
I think my most elaborate story I made up, and it was just talking to a random person on an airplane. She had no clue. That in Alaska, if you wanted to be a missionary and go to the villages of Alaska, you had to go through tribal rites. To earn the right to speak to the villagers and stuff, you had to become like a native warrior. And, a native warrior, you have to do certain things. You have to capture an enemy's insignia. You have to kill a man. Right?
This is before World of Warcraft, by the way.
Yeah. And I was like, and you have to come back, without being detected. Or all that. She goes, oh my gosh, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. She's like, they want you to kill somebody? I was like, yeah, but it's Russians, so nobody cares.
And that's the truth.
Yeah. I said, I was like, one time a year, the Bering Strait freezes up and you could walk to Russia. It's like 3 miles away. Not true. It's definitely not. It's like 50-something miles away.
Yeah.
And you can't walk there.
Very rare that it ever, yeah.
Now, there is one time a year where we have a dog sled race.
Correct. There's one time that's very brief, yeah.
So anyways, I said, yeah, we got to sneak over there. And the first thing you run into is a military encampment. And you literally are with a pack of warriors from this tribe. And there's like 3 tribes that you can choose from. And I was just really elaborate. Went on the story and all about how we went into this Russian camp, stole their flag, killed a man, came back, and I was able to preach the gospel to them. And she ate it up like it was like true. And she's like, oh my God, I can't wait till I tell everybody this is amazing.
We're very good at what we do.
I'm going to hell. I was like, I could just hear God going, why?
What's the point?
Why are you doing this?
We make up a story about witnessing to people, but don't witness to the one we're lying to in the story.
Yeah, it's like just tell them like he totally murdered a Russian guy and stole his flag and stuck back to Alaska so I had the right to preach the gospel in all the villages. It's just so retarded.
They when we were leaving, this is before the internet was a real big thing. The internet was super boring and awful back in the day of it.
Dial-up.
It was only used for one thing. Yeah, 7 women up all night and see 2 women. Whatever it was in IT crowd that joke. But they would like you're gonna with summer break, you're gonna write, right? We're gonna write there. I can try. I'm really scrambling to get out of this without hurting anybody's feelings. I'm like, I can try, but I mean, it's a long ways to the post office to get any kind of telegram or whatever. Huh? I'm like, well, we don't really have like an actual legit good postal service there. I mean, it takes a while for mail to go through, and when it does, you kind of have to go to the main post office to pick it up, and it might be a letter in there. And if it's not, you can drop one off, but I don't know how long it would take for it to get delivered to you or mailed to you. I'd probably be just easiest to talk to you when we get back because that's going to be the same amount of time it takes me. I mean, you might be at school and it'll be at your house or whatever. And I'm like really laying it on stupid. She's looking at me like, how dumb do you think I am? I'm like, I'm going to see because I'm going to push this pretty hard. I was like, I mean, we could try. I mean, I don't have a problem trying. I'll write. And now I got 20 minutes of this, but it's just the trip to that post office is quite, that's the hard part. I said, it's, if I go the shorter route, I have to take the dog team because that's backwoods and it's through the mountain ranges, all that kind of stuff. And I said, if we drive there, we have to make certain that the snow is clear and it's been clear. Otherwise we get, we're stuck or we're turning around, And I'm doing the same stuff we've always done, and, different things.
And Fairbanks gets an average snowfall of 3 feet.
And when I walk away from them, they don't know if I'm lying or telling the truth. They don't care, but they don't bring it up. The important part is they just stop talking about it. And that's what I wanted. Because I ain't writing you no dang letter.
No. We're not very sociable people.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It was a Russian-based, country. It stayed that way when it was bought over. It didn't really, we're very much into the, hey, I'll stick to myself if you need help, if it's dire.
Yeah, you go there to get away from people, not
to
be friendly with them.
You want to be quiet and chill and low-key.
Yeah. Everybody wants 100 acres to themselves, and they don't want to see anybody else.
That's why everybody goes to church. They just don't know each other's names, and there's like 2 or 3 that do.
That's why churches up north are so cliquish.
Yeah, that's where you socialize.
Yeah, because it took years for them to form those bonds to know each other.
Yeah.
And then you get a new person that comes in, and you look at them, and you're like, okay, if you're military, you're going to be gone in 4 years. All right?
That is true.
If you're not military and you just came up here for work, you're not going to like one winter.
And only that, you're not going to leave your house. You're going to be terrified. Yeah.
You're just not going to You're going to hit 60 below zero.
Yep.
It's going to be dark all day long for an entire month.
And you're going to be on a suicide watch in military.
Why do you people do this?
Yeah.
Because you won't. That's why. And you'll go back to
1,000%. You will leave and go back to your nice warm Alabamas and the Floridas. And they always took the people from the South and shoved them up in Alaska first just to drive them to insanity.
Dude, did I tell you, when I was working at that parts store, this guy comes in, no freaking teeth, fat as can be. Just not that fat really has anything to do with the way he talked, but he was just gross.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to be fat because I'm gonna get fat one day. We're all gonna end up fat.
Right.
But this guy's shirt was like his belly was hanging out below it.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's like if you don't have the decency,
just
to cover your own self up. Some self dignity.
Most of them don't know.
I don't think they care.
That's true. You get to the point where you don't care. Yeah.
He comes up to the counter and goes, "I need all. No, I need an all. All. Yeah, I need all." I said, "An all. Got it." We sold tire repair stuff.
Right.
So I went and got a metal awl to probe it. You stick it into the hole of the tire. I was like, "Do you want it? You want smooth or do you want ribbed?" He goes, "No, man, I need all." I'm like, "This isn't all." He goes, "For your car, man. I'm changing my all." I'm like, "You mean oil?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "There's an I in that word, dude. It's oil." Where are you from? He goes, "Alabama." I'm like, huh.
Why are you here?
I said, "Does it look like we sell oil here to you?" And I think the best thing about that job and the worst thing about that job is we got away with saying whatever we wanted to.
Yeah.
Because
that was
it's
the
Alaska.
location. Yeah.
I mean, the boss man smoked at the counter.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like he was smoking little cigars, those little rough neck cigars, rough woods or whatever, backwoods cigars. Yeah, he's smoking them everything. And he would tell people to get the F out of there all the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they throw a little bit of lip, He'd be like, "Well, fine, door's right there.
Yeah.
Don't get effing
lost. You're the only game in town, too. So.
Well, it's just there's no reason to be rude. Everybody behind this counter is nice. Everybody here wants to help you.
Yeah.
You come up with an attitude because everybody in Alaska has an attitude. All the little rough necks that want to pretend like I'm a big tough logger and all that stuff. When the truth is, loggers are some of the nicest people you ever meet.
Yeah.
And if you are a complete utter douchebag and you go out with a logging crew, they're gonna kill you. You're gonna.
You will disappear. Nobody will ever.
A tree's gonna fall on you.
Not a single one of them will have ever even heard your name.
No. Well, it's like, oh man, I told him not to do that, and he did it anyways. I don't know how those ropes got around his wrists. Yeah, you can't be. It's just like they had this false persona that I'm a real big tough man, but really the toughest, nicest men there were the quietest, the nicest ones there. I mean, they literally were, and they were tough as nails.
And they had money.
Oh yeah, jobs.
They dressed like slobs, lived in beautiful homes.
Roughneck posers, man. They always came there with attitude, and freaking all 3 of us were always terrible to them.
Yeah,
it's like, well, you didn't find it hard to get in here. Let's see if you can find it hard to get out. But anyways, it's just. Yeah,
I remember Sheriff telling me he was just, we were talking something. I don't remember. We were with a few of the soldiers, remember. And I think they were talking about, man, why you guys live here and not Anchorage? He's like, the Russians run Anchorage. He said, there's a few Russian mafias and mobs in Anchorage.
I think they have a Samoan gang there that's tough.
I've heard it's gotten big. Yeah, the Samoan gang's gotten really big.
They came out of California, went there.
Okay.
Yeah, they're tough.
So what they would do is like, there's poaching that's going on. And he's like, he said, a couple years back, I had a narrow, kind of rough call. Walked into the woods because he'd heard a gunfire, and he was just kind of walking around, and he wasn't hunting season. He walks up on a dead moose, and 2 Russians are gutting it. And he walks up closer, and then 4 more come out of the woods, like they'd heard him more likely, and just kind of
Yeah.
And he just turns around and walks away.
Yeah.
You ain't coming out of the woods if you say a word.
Dude, that's why not a single Russian there ever gets a fishing license. Because no one's going to try to arrest him and prosecute him. Because there's always 60 of them.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Exactly. It's a very tight-knit clique community. Yeah.
And you think that body's going to go right in the water, and you're not going to come out.
Samoans. I have my very first encounter with Samoans was in Alaska. So one of my friends at the school was Samoan. And his... I knew him, and we talked. We socialized quite a bit. He wasn't, part of my main group of nerds that I hung out with, because I only hung out with nerds. I was a nerd. But he gets on the bus, and he shoots his body down right next to me on the seat, because I was a little bit closer to the front. And he tells the bus driver, we pick him up. I'm at a bus stop. This is like 8th grade. We pick him up. He gets on the bus, shoots down right next to me, and he's telling the bus driver, "Go ahead and go. We just got to go. I'll go." And the bus driver's like, he's like, "Huh? Yeah, okay, we're going." He's like, "No, go." And I'm thinking he's in trouble, and he's wanting to run from his dad. His house is on the corner. We're like a full view of his front driveway in his house. His dad comes out of the house. This is the biggest human being I've ever seen in my life at that time. I'm like, Jesus have mercy, this dude's huge. Well, excuse me, before his dad came out, his brother came out of the house. Scrambles into a car that's in the driveway. Then dad comes out, who's the biggest dude on the planet. Bus driver's laughing because he has a clue of what's about to happen. We don't move. This monster of a human being, this Samoan, punches through the driver's window of the car and drags his son out by his hair and pulls him into the house. The coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life up to that point in my life.
That's amazing.
I'm like, what just happened? He's like, dude, I knew it was going to happen. He was embarrassed. He was completely embarrassed. He's like, he was out partying all night, And that's the most intimate conversation I've ever had with this guy. But I just watched his dad drag his brother out of his car. He like it was nothing. Just walks up, boom, grabs him with both arms, pulls him out. He's dragging him in the house with one hand. That kid knew he was in for some serious crap. I felt Madison level of respect for Samoans at that time.
We had one in our high school. Well, the 1 year that I went to that high school. His name was Ricky. I never knew the guy. 2 years older than me. Monster. Just really tall, big dude. His little sister was in class, and she started her menstrual cycle for the first time. And she wasn't prepared for it, or didn't. I don't know.
Right.
I wasn't in that.
Most time
classroom.
they're not. Yeah.
I got the story secondhand, but I saw the aftermath firsthand. She bleeds in the seat, and the guy behind her points it out to the entire class and starts making fun of her. She runs off, crying, of course.
Right.
And then goes to the nurse, calls her brother Ricky, says, "You need to take me home." And he goes, "What's going on?" And she tells him what happened. He goes, "Who?" And she said, "No, Ricky." That's all I heard was, "No, Ricky." Well, that kid that made fun of her, the teacher called the assistant principal.
Yeah.
You remember that guy used to have like 5 different types of karate that he taught?
Yeah.
Smith or something.
Smith or something, Joe. Yeah, Joe Smith. Something, yeah.
He was the assistant principal.
He used to catch arrows. Yeah.
Yeah, he did all kinds of stuff. He was a nice enough guy, but he was a little weird. But anyways, she calls him and tells him what happened, points the student out so he can get reprimanded because it wasn't cool, obviously. So he is Mr. Scott.
Scott, there you go. Thank you.
Scott is walking this kid, whose name is Nathan, apparently. I never knew this kid. Was walking Nathan back to the principal's office so he can get reprimanded. And Ricky comes out of the nurse's office, was right across the hallway from the principal's office, and sees this kid. And she looks at him, and I remember I was like a miracle from God that I happened to be just standing in the right time, the right place.
Absolutely.
She looks at the kid, and the kid looks at her, and he looks horrified. And then her brother instantly knew who it was. He pounded that kid's face. It sounded like he was hitting freaking frozen meat, fist after fist. And you know what Mr. Scott did? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I know he did.
And it wasn't because he was afraid of this kid. He definitely wasn't afraid of him. He knew he earned it. So he let that kid smack him 3 or 4 times before he finally broke it off.
Yeah.
That kid's face. I've never seen somebody bleed out of their skin
Wow.
Right? He hit him so hard right here in
He's
his
rubbing
cheek.
flesh.
Freaking blood vessels were busted, and he was like bleeding, and then he just got more and more and more.
Wow.
Never seen in my life, right? No broken noses or anything like that. He just punched his freaking side of his face.
Yeah.
His fist was so big, blah, blah, blah. Freaking blood just coming out of his cheek. It was amazing. It was so cool.
School used to be
Samoans, just don't mess with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They don't care.
No.
They don't care. They don't give one crap. You could threaten them with anything you want, and they're like, I'll kill you anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care. Yeah, Samoan gangs especially, they're ruthless.
They really are, and they're out of it's
If they ever get back to their homeland, you won't ever find them.
You won't ever hear a word of it. They blend right in with the
Same as the
scenery,
Native Americans.
and it's accepted right in. Yeah, Native Americans.
Native Americans, they get in trouble with the law. You'll never find them.
Yeah, they
So many different villages they can bounce around in.
Yeah, they will hide them, and they'll keep them quiet and safe, and absolutely they will. Yeah.
So those are some more Alaska stories.
Yay, more fun. We've been around. It's been fun.
I don't miss the dark and the cold though.
I don't miss the cost.
No,
I mean, I'm okay with.
I do miss the fly fishing.
I miss the fishing.
I miss the
so
fly
much.
fishing, and I do miss the hiking. The hiking was amazing.
You had that one nice week where you could just go everywhere, and there was no bugs yet.
June.
Yeah.
July, actually, I guess. July. Yeah, July.
I mean, when there's no bugs. There's that 1 week where there's no bugs, like when they hadn't quite pulled out yet. Snow's still on the ground, but it's warm enough to...
First week of May.
First week of May, yeah.
It's glorious time. Everyone's rolling down their windows and driving around because it feels so warm and it's 40 degrees out.
All right. I'm going to end this one. And you want to go on still, or you want to...
Yeah.
We can do
Mine's not going to be real long. It's 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
I'll add it to this one, then I'll cut it. I'll just cut it.
You want to do it?
Yeah. We'll just do that.
All right. So what I got is...
You need me to look up anything?
No.
Okay.
Basically, I have written down... I just got to remember where I put it. Obsidian. All right. So there's... I'm going to very, very brief explanation of a very complicated subject.
Okay. Go ahead and tell everybody what you're doing.
Sefer.
The Sefer. What is
And
that?
that's Greek.
Okay.
And basically, it's all the writings that rabbis would teach from.
Okay. Yep.
Some of them were considered divine, and that would be the ones that Moses wrote and the one the prophets wrote. Right? So you're talking about the first 5 books of the Bible.
Yeah.
The ones that Moses did. Those are considered divine because God instructed people to do things.
Yeah.
Write this down. Here's the 10 Commandments. This is what happened. Blah, blah, blah. Free my people. Let my people go. All of Exodus, all that kind of stuff. And then you have
Torah.
the prophets, and the minor and the major prophets. They said, and the Lord says, blah, blah, blah. And they would speak for the Lord. Those are considered divine writings. These other ones are just teachings. It would be like Job, Proverbs. They're not considered like divine. They're inspired. Mm-hmm. But it's not like the God didn't tell him to say this. This is just what he felt inspired to do.
It's not dictated for, yeah.
So you have divine, you have inspired, and then you have more historical teachings, moral teachings, stuff like that. Song of Solomon would be kind of like that. It's just a teaching. Like, this is how a man should be with a woman, blah, 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 blah. But, so, the Sefer has all those books in it, and they were in our Bible. The Puritans in the 1800s used to read it.
Okay.
All right. They had all those books. Okay. So instead of 66 books, it's like 88 books. Right. It's a big old Bible.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that many. I didn't know. Yeah. I thought there was like 6 or 7.
And it's all transcribed into King James, because James transcribed the Bible.
Okay.
They did the same thing with Sefer. So it has these extra books that our Bible doesn't have today, because basically what happened was they had this big debate amongst Christians, and they said, for one, the Catholics had already ditched it. They said, we have our Apocrypha. They had their own thing going on. They were more obsessed with angels and stuff like that, and saints.
They wanted trinkety things they could resell.
Yeah. So, and plus, their people weren't allowed to read it. It was all in Latin, so they didn't really care.
Yeah.
Well, the Puritans and all, and everybody else, they were like, a lot of this stuff is redundant, and since it's not divine or inspired, it doesn't really need to be there, right? So they ditched it, and they said, we're going to stick with this core. Now, the Jews had the same thing back in Jesus' day, where, and I sometimes get this wrong, I can't remember if it's the Sadducees or the Pharisees. I believe the Sadducees only used the first 5 books of the Torah. the Torah.
They were the least of any. Yeah, they were the.
They don't believe in resurrection. And
Yeah,
they wouldn't use any of the prophets. They didn't do any. All they did was the first 5 books of the Bible. That's it. That's all they used. Pharisees used all of the Old Testament that we have today. So there's always been that line where some people believe this, some people that. So the Sefer has books in it that the normal Christian doesn't get a chance to read because it's not in our Bible. And for example, I'm doing mine on Jasher. Jasher fills in the blanks that we don't have in Genesis. It literally coincides with Genesis, and it's a oral tradition handed down until BC 300.
That would be most.
Right? BC 300, they took it from Hebrew and wrote it into Greek, and they called it the Sefer. That's the oldest copy we have. We don't have anything older because they all got burned up in AD 78 when Rome sacked Jerusalem. So the oldest copy of the Sefer that we have was dated back in BC 300 until the Dead Sea Scrolls. Once they found those Dead Sea Scrolls, they found the older copies of some of these books. Not all of them, some of them. Jasher is one of them that happened to be in there. And it's not the entire book of Jasher, it's just fragments of it. So the oldest complete copy we got is BC 300. It's not very old, considered by ancient texts wise.
No, not at all.
So, so I just want to read. So just to give you a preview, this is
solely
it can't
Genesis?
be proven. Yeah, this is Genesis. It's following Genesis.
Okay.
This is not a. I don't know how to describe it really.
So the books,
it's a historical.
The Council of Nicaea put books in the Bible they could confirm to have 3 to 5 confirmations of it throughout history to say, okay, we believe that this is legit one. We don't know that they had that with the Septuagint, right? Or not Septuagint.
Same
the
thing.
Sefer.
Septuagint, Sefer.
Yeah,
different name for the same.
Okay,
thing.
they are the same one. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was different. Yeah.
So, and they did, half the crowd wanted it and half the crowd didn't, and they're like, you know what? Does this bring more to the story or less?
Yeah.
Or does it add anything? It's like, it's just details that really don't matter.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I want to read to you details that didn't really matter. So,
let's go.
Because a lot of people won't ever take the time to read it.
Yeah.
So Jasher, and this is going to start at chapter 1. It talks about how Adam has Cain and then Abel.
Yeah.
The thing that really is hard on the Sefer is that it keeps the original Hebrew names and doesn't transcribe it into the English names. So Cain is actually Quain.
Oh, I see.
And Abel is Havel.
So you have to really kind of
Havel.
look up who these guys are because
Yeah. Well, it has it in a book. In the book,
Yeah.
in the Sefer, you can look it up. Say, okay, Cain.
A
Havel,
commentary,
Abel.
a commentary. Okay, yeah.
It is annoying. It's like, if you're going to do that, why wouldn't you?
Just put it right next to it, guys. Come on.
Yeah, parentheses, please.
It's
so hard. Anyways, so Adam has Cain, and then he has Abel, his second son, and he decides that they need their own. They get older, and they need their own properties. Mm-hmm. So he gives them each a section of land. And then you remember when Cain and Abel went to sacrifice in front of the gate of the garden?
Correct.
God looked favorably on Abel's sacrifice of lamb, or it was first of his flock. It doesn't say what flock it was. First of his flock. It says sheep, I think, later on. And he didn't look kindly on Cain's fruit in vegetables thing. So he's kind of upset about it. So in Genesis, in our Genesis, it says that right after that, Cain's killing Abel. It
just drops right into like that. Yeah, yes, you are correct.
He goes there, they're walking in the field, and he hits, and it says.
Well, it says in one day they were in the field.
Yeah, he strikes him and it kills him.
Yeah, but it goes right to that. Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah.
So in this one, it talks about after that, Adam's like, okay, you guys need your own properties. Cain's out there and he's plowing his field, and he just gets done plowing a field. It's freshly plowed. Abel's flock goes across his property line into that field and starts tearing it up.
Oh, nice.
Right? And so Cain confronts him. He gets angry. He says, hey, get your sheep off my property and take them back to your property. So, they don't belong over here. And so Abel goes back to him and says, he's like, okay, fine. I'll bring the sheep back to my property. You give me back all the wool that you're wearing that you took from my sheep because I gave you wool for clothes. And don't ever eat my sheep again when I prepare it. Yeah. So if you don't want my flock over here grazing, then you don't need their wool and their food.
Sounds like brothers.
Right. Cain then says, he goes, you know what? I could just kill you right now. And then nobody would know about it. Nobody would know about your blood being spilled.
Interesting.
So here's the interesting part.
That's a very interesting statement.
Yeah. So if you read in the New Testament in Hebrews, it says that Abel was a prophet. It says the prophet Abel proclaimed blah, blah, blah. If you've never read this Sefer, you'd have no idea what he's talking about. And I didn't until I read this as well. I didn't think
it was that Abel.
Yes, the same Abel.
Okay.
It's even prophesied in the prophets. Isaiah says Abel's a prophet.
Oh, prophet. Okay.
But you would never know why, because Abel's not very long in Genesis. He's dead, right? Doesn't really ever do or say anything.
Prophesying too. There's 4 of them on the planet, according to the way you read it.
He prophesies to Cain and Jasher.
Oh.
So Abel does the very first prophecy ever in the history of mankind, right? And he tells Cain, he goes, God is the judge of unrighteous and righteous men. If you do an unrighteous act like killing me, God is going to judge you. God is going to find you. You can't hide from God. Your evil acts will be brought to light by God, and the righteous will be justified by God. He prophesies to him.
Yeah.
That makes Cain so angry that he takes his plowshare and hits him with the metal. It says the iron portion of his plow, strikes him dead. And Abel falls to the ground. His blood spills into the ground. Instantly, Cain runs over to him and weeps and repents and wishes he hadn't done it.
Interesting.
He was just angry.
Yeah. He
digs a hole and buries his body, covers it up, hoping that nobody will find out. He has this whole plan in his head, like, no one's going to know where he went. A lot of praying, there ain't nobody out here. No one can see us. It's just me and him kind of thing. It says God comes down immediately after he's done burying the body kind of a thing. He comes down and says, hey, where's your brother?
He waits for him to finish burying the body.
Yeah, and in it says that God already knew. God was watching. God already knew what he was doing.
He asked a question he already had the answer to. Yeah.
Right. And he goes, am I here to take care of my brother? I don't know where he is. And he goes, his blood's already crying out to me. He said, and in the Sefer it says, I can hear his blood crying to me from the ground.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't talk about any of the mark part where God marks Cain so he won't die, because Cain's like, can't send me out because somebody might find me and kill me.
Yeah.
That's not in this part, because that doesn't come until later.
Okay.
God curses him, though. And he says, the ground will never produce for you ever again. Everything you till will turn into thorns and thistles. He said, and you're going to wander restless, and you'll never be able to settle down, and you will die wandering. And then he sends him out, and he goes east of Eden, and he takes his whole family with him and all of his possessions.
Yeah.
So he has wives, he has kids, and he has possessions of some sort. And so he has a tribe.
Yeah.
Never spoken of in Genesis, right?
No.
Until later.
Yeah. Well, we always joked about, we figured there'd be people on the planet, but we always joked, there's only 4 of them. What's going on? How did they not know one was missing?
That was so the Book of Jubilees actually answers that one as well. So we can do that one later. Jubilees is kind of interesting. It's the first book of the Sefer.
I don't want to get you off topic. Go ahead.
Okay. So he goes east. And that's in our book of Genesis as well. It tells him he goes east. And it says that he, later on in life, God has mercy on him and decides to let him settle down. And he builds a city. And he names the city after his child, Enoch. He has Enoch. If you look at his family line, he has Enoch all the way down to a guy named Lamech.
Yeah, Lamech. Yeah.
Now, Adam has a third son, Seth, in replacement of Abel.
Yeah.
Seth has the exact same family line. His first son, Enoch, all the way down to Lamech. And then Lamech gives birth to Noah. All right?
Okay.
Or no, it goes Lamech, Enoch. Yeah, Lamech, Noah. Yeah, that's it. They have the exact... There's only 2 of the kids that Cain have and Seth have that have different names. The rest of them, it's like they match names.
Oh, weird.
So strange. I don't know why. I didn't look it up because I didn't care. But Cain's line of those names, they're all evil men.
Yes. This whole
Seth's line of those names are all godly men.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Cain's Lamech was a vicious killer, worse than his father. And he also, has problems with it. But anyways, so the city of Enoch, and he later on becomes the city of Nod. But yeah, Lamech, I think, starts Nod or whatnot like that. So it was just weird to me. That's just the first chapter. So that fills in the blanks of what happened between Cain and Abel. So that's what the Sephir's pretty much got extra books in. It still has the whole Bible in it. It still has 66 books that we have. But it has these extra books. And that's what these extra books do, is they fill in these blanks that has been oral tradition for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So the biggest evidence I have for the Sephir is the fact that Jesus quotes it a couple times, James quotes it a couple times, and it's in Titus. The first martyr, Stephen. When Stephen is martyred, he's stoned for the gospel of Jesus Christ.
He looks up and sees,
So when Stephen first gets arrested, they question him, and it says that he recites the Torah to them.
Yeah. He wanted to prove to them that he was actually not some loser, nobody. He
Yeah.
was knowledgeable.
He was
so he
educated.
recited,
But if you read the account that he gives, he talks about how Noah was a great preacher. That's nowhere in our Bible,
No, it's not at all.
but it is in this one.
Okay.
It'll talk about it. He was actually a prominent.
Okay.
He was like a warrior monk. He was very good at fighting and preaching.
And drinking.
And he had his own wine. Yeah, he loved his wine.
He's
Kind of like Benjamin Franklin.
nice beard.
So yeah, that's the first chapter
That's
of
interesting.
Jasher.
I've never heard any of that.
Yeah, me either. Well, I mean, I had because I read it like 15 years ago, but
Yeah.
I was now refreshing my brain now. But yeah,
Right.
that's why they call Abel a prophet in the Bible.
I never thought it was him. I didn't know it was exactly
His prophecy's awesome too.
because he never prophesied. He just showed up
Yeah.
and died. I mean, that's
Yeah.
all it was. Though.
So that's Jasher chapter 1. And so I'll just do each chapter as it goes.
Okay.
As long as it's interesting. If it's boring, I'm not going to do
It doesn't matter. I mean, like I say, if it adds to it, then that's fine. I mean, if it's
The
information.
account of Abraham's wild.
Oh, really?
There's a talking lion at some point in time.
No way.
And yeah, and there's like this one
I
point
mean, there's
where...
a talking. Yeah, so good.
Oh, that's true. There's talking donkey.
Yeah, talkie donkey in there.
There's one point where these two Hebrew brothers have supernatural gifts from God where they can shout men to death. It blows them apart.
You probably heard just where I've heard that from. I was very curious about that.
Yeah, it's all in this. So we'll read it.
Okay. Well,
We'll read it together.
Yeah, we'll just show you something different. Dabble there. I'll go through the Book of Acts because it's interesting, and then after that I'll pick another one, and we'll just go through Scripture like we normally do, and then include stuff that we can match up with things like that. And like I said, it's not going to change salvation message in our books.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't
we're
really
gonna
change a whole lot.
we're gonna preach the same message.
But it is interesting. It's like, why in the world would he just club him with a rock or something? It was like,
Yeah. And I always thought he was a fruit. He strictly grew like fruits and vegetables, but I understand he didn't.
That's the other thing. So it says
That was part of the problem with his offering was that it was.
So in Jasher it says the reason why his offering was really bad is because he chose the poorest of his harvest. He
Yeah.
didn't choose the best. He chose the
Everybody
poorest of his
figured
harvest.
that was part of that. I've heard that 100 times. So somebody must have read
He's
that.
like, you
in
gave me the destitute vegetables.
there. Sorry, these are like 3 days old. Okay, you got he's got spots on them.
Yeah. So
Always eat the apple with the wormhole in it because the worm knows what's best. So.
yeah, because it doesn't ever say anything that God ever gave him instructions on how to sacrifice. But he looked good on his.
Well, he may, like you say, he may have given it to Adam, and shown him how after he sinned. He would have to show him.
So that's the Jubilees.
Yeah, he would have to show him how to do it.
So Jubilee means 7 years. Every 7th year is a Jubilee year,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
That's
so
when they
the
would
book
forgive-
of Jubilees is the record of the first sets of 7 years. So it's really wild because,
The first sets of 7.
yeah, so Adam and Eve were in the garden for 7 years before they got kicked out,
Oh, okay.
according to this.
So that's where the 7 comes from? Or is that just the, okay.
Yep.
It seems like a perfect number kind of concept. It seems a little too accurate, but
Well, the Jubilee year doesn't come around until Moses.
okay.
So this is a
That
record
would-
of
okay.
all the 7th years up until that time.
Oh, that'd be a lot of them.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah,
a big book.
that'd be a lot
Yeah.
of them.
The book of Enoch has 110 chapters.
Oh, wow.
It's actually 3 books in one, I guess.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
3
know.
books.
Yeah. So that's a wild one. We'll get there sooner or later.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll just keep doing this until we get through like the weird books of the Sephir that
Yeah.
people don't know about anymore. But like I said, it was in our Bible longer than it's been out of our Bible. So
I've heard that too. Yeah. That it was in longer than it's been out.
yeah, so it's a common thing to be taught. Jews still teach it to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's not to be considered.
The
holy divine or
the reason we haven't pushed it before is because we don't want to push anything that pulls away from the salvation message. But nobody's listening to us anyway, so we don't care. We're gonna do it. So until then, we will see you and take care. And
do not comply.
goodbye.